Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Lloyd and I source cars for people on a professional basis. Although most of the cars I source are between £1,000 and £5,000, very often I've been asked to show something a little bit cheaper on the channel, and so I came up with No Budget Reviews, the series where we look at cars that you can buy in good condition with an MOT for under £1,000 and you can enjoy driving. We don't film this in an expensive manner, we don't use separate microphones, we don't use dual head tripods, we don't even use a DSLR, but we do have a lot of fun. I've been actually wanting to get one of these cars on No Budget Reviews for some time, and on this trip to Scotland that I'm on at the moment, mainly to do the Tweed Jacket Reviews Christmas special, the same owner of the car that we filmed for that has one of these. This is a 2011 Kia Picanto 1.1 Strike. It's a very late first generation model. I think these are called the SA. One of the things about them that I find very, very amusing is that this car was known as the Kia Morning in Korea. Not the Picanto, it was known as the Kia Morning, which is really weird. So you have the Strike model, which was a special edition towards the end of production. The second generation one came out the same year, so yes, a very late SA one. This is a nice little car actually for the age. This is before things like the Volkswagen Up and Skoda Citigo and Seat Me sort of revolutionised the class. And you know, the rivals of when this car came out in 2004 in this country weren't actually that many with 5 doors. Hyundai, I think, was still making the Amica, I think it was, which wasn't based on this platform. It was actually on a previous generation of very small cars. So little thing like this with 5 doors as opposed to something like a Ford Ka was pretty good. I suppose the nearest thing I could think of would be Fiat Panda. And yes, yeah, the City Rover was on sale then as well, viewers, but we don't talk about those on this channel. Just see if we can get the boot open. There we go. Now it's only 157 litres on this car. I do apologise that it's not particularly clean. The owner's been cleaning up his other 2 cars for me today, but I've already filmed, and this is just a little bonus for all of you because I'm really excited about it. I don't know why. I've been driving 2 other cars that I think would probably be more exciting than this, but I'm really excited about this. I don't know why. So only one little tiny hook for the boot strut, just one little tiny one, and 157 litres, but you can fit quite a lot of stuff in there. I'm quite impressed. I'm not going to try to take all that stuff out, I'm just going to leave it. And you can actually recline these seats. There we go, you see actually recline them. It's a really good feature for this, and obviously you can fold them to create more boot space. None of the things at this time were particularly big in terms of the boot. The 107 and the C1 and the Toyota Aygo that came up the next year to this, they had an even smaller boot than this. You get those in 3 or 5 doors. Ooh, I think we are going to have to move that passenger seat forward though a bit, viewers. Okay, that's better. I'm liking a C1 or a Citigo or a Me or a an Aygo or a 107. You can actually wind the rear windows down. There we go. It's not particularly the highest quality plastic in the back of here, but it's very durable. And I've actually got loads of headroom. I've got an impressive amount of headroom, really. Just from my seat forward, I've got enough legroom as well. I'm only 5'11", not the tallest person, but you know, there's lots of room in here. And the water's, oh my gosh, the water in here, it's been so cold. The water in that cup holder's actually still frozen. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's not a warm day today here in Edinburgh, viewers. It's not maybe the most inspiring dash or anything like that, but it's absolutely fine. Very sort of hard wearing car, this. We haven't got a little seat belt at all, I don't think. A little lap belt. No, it's only got 4 seats, this one. I can't remember if you could get a 5-seater one of these. Got rear headrests, that's good. No door pockets or anything. Actually got speakers in the rear doors. That's not a given for a car like this, actually. Sometimes they don't have things like that. And I think the upholstery is pretty pleasant, really. Yeah, it's fine. One of the things that I'm aware of at this moment is that we're trying to save money where we can in all aspects of life. And a little thing like this, and you can pick up a Picanto for under £1,000 still, the first generation one like this, although this would be a little bit more expensive if you were to buy a really late one like this in this sort of condition, is that uses E10 fuel. I think they're all ultra emission zone compliant, they're very economical, they're quite reliable on the whole. This is an excellent car to consider for a little run around. 5-speed manual gearbox. You could also get an automatic with a 1.1 engine. Got a radio CD player here. I've been struggling to find the aux input for this. I just can't. I can't find it. It might be down here somewhere. I'm not actually sure where the aux in is, but there we go. That's not too bad. And then glove box. Oh no, my supervision documents aren't going to go in there, viewers, because we've got all sorts of things demonstrating the little cubby spaces that are everywhere for this car. It's not, you know, in any way, I say, sort of stylish. It's very functional, and it's really easy to find where everything is. And this one's got air conditioning, which is great. I would probably seek out a model with air conditioning with one of these. But it's really easy to find things. Reheated window, hazard lights. There's the fog lights. This is one of the later cars, so it's got the indicator stalk on the left-hand side. The early ones had it on the right. And there's just not a lot to say, just simple instruments. One thing I'll just have a look at, if we turn the car on, which I'll need my other hand to do, is to see if we've actually got a temperature gauge. We might have some light just to see what it's like. Yeah, we have actually got, it just went out, we have got a little high temperature warning light. I don't know if we've got a cold one, like presumably that would light up blue if the engine was cold or something. I have driven it here maybe a couple of miles and it didn't actually light up blue, so maybe it doesn't do that, I don't know. But yes, it's just really simple. There's not really a lot to say. I mean, there's the adjustment for the clock. I think we can press this and get the trip meter. There we go. We've actually got 2 trip meters in this car, and that's all it is. What else do you need? Turn that off a second. The door bins are actually quite big. This model's got electric windows. I don't know if you could get all-round electric windows in one of these. Possibly not, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's just very simple and uncomplicated, and you know, these days there's so much going on, maybe that's all you need. Let's take a look at the engine. So here is a 1.1 litre Epsilon engine developing 65 horsepower. There's not an awful lot to say. These engines tend to be quite reliable. There is a cam belt, so you've got to be aware to change that. I think the interval's about 80,000 miles on this, or maybe sort of 8 years. But there we go, you can see everything you need to see. Power steering fluid. This car's got power steering, which is good. There's your filler cap, there's the dipstick. There's the air conditioning system. Coolant is just there. It's very difficult to see though with the levelers. You have to take the cap off to do that. I'm not going to do that. It's not necessary. But yeah, not really an awful lot to say. It's just, again, like most of his cars, really simple. It'd be nice to have some fog lights in the bumper, but I mean, it's fun, isn't it? It's like complaining this car's not got electric mirrors or alloy wheels. You don't need electric mirrors or alloy wheels, do you? It's just getting around, nipping around the city, but this is absolutely fine. Right, let's take it out for a little spin, shall we? So here we are on the streets of Portobello in Edinburgh. One of the things that people used to say about old Hyundais and Kias, and it's true with this car as well, is that the clutches were really, really kind of like an on-off switch. There's not much progression in them. It's a light clutch, but there's not a lot of sort of biting points, either on or it's off, and certainly with this car that's the case. Because this is the Stripe model, I've actually got a nice sort of leather trimmed steering wheel. It might be actually a fake one, but I think it's actually a real one. There are only 2 engines available with the Mark 1 Picanto. There was a 1 litre engine which developed 61 horsepower, and a 1.1 like this one which developed 65 horsepower. They really aren't the fastest cars, these. This car does 0 to 60 in 15.6 seconds. Sorry, 14.6 seconds. The automatic, which was available with a 1.1 engine, was even slower. Like, really, really slow. So yeah, that clutch bites really high up. It's quite common on these. That's the case. It bites really, really high up. Lloyd Vehicle Consulting stickers, t-shirts and mugs are available by clicking the link to the Google form in the video description below. My goodness me, viewers. There's a lot of traffic today in Portobello. So finally we're on the move again. That wasn't good. So yeah, this 65 brake horsepower 1.1 engine, known as the Hyundai Epsilon engine, is also used in the first generation i10, which is one of the most popular cars we've ever had on low budget reviews. In fact, I think the whole platform of this car actually is very similar to that first generation i10. It's very, very easy to drive. I can't believe the age of the car and the amount of mileage it's done. The ride is very good. The roads in Edinburgh I've been finding when I've been driving around here are really, really poor. And this is just perfect for nipping around. Gearbox is nice and easy, it's pretty sweet. Not biggest fan of that clutch, but you know, never mind. Feels perfectly nippy round here. I think its home would generally just be in the city anyway. I don't think really it's a car that would take kindly to lots of motorway use. But one has to bear in mind that the first car I ever had was a 1998 Volkswagen Polo 1.4 CL, and that only had 60 horsepower. And it might even have been heavier than this. This is only about 900 kilos, this car. What's really weird about the first generation Picanto is the only car I've ever come across where not only did they move the indicator stalk to the other side with the facelift in 2007, but they also changed the car for electric power steering when it had hydraulic steering initially, which is really odd. I don't know why they did that, but obviously I prefer the indicator stalk to be on the left hand side rather than the right. It's just my personal preference, but there we go. The first generation Picanto is a car that had myriad special editions. When the car was launched, the trim levels I think were something like S, LS, GS and LX. There also were SE and SE Plus models. I forget the actual sort of crossover period between all of these. It's very confusing. With this facelifted car, they went for a much simpler trim structure. There was the 1, 2, the 2 IPD, I don't know what IPD means, the 3, and that's the way Kia trim levels generally are these days as well. That's far better than all these different ones, I think. But let's get on with special editions, shall we? There's a lot of them. The chill. The date, a Kia Picanto date. I wonder if that is a date with a nice young lady or some dates in a box that is a type of dried fruit. Anyway, the domino, the glamour. You can see sort of person who might actually want to own one of these back in the day. The Graphite, the Ice, the Red, the Spice, the Strike, the Zap, the Zip, and the Zip Plus. Zap, Zip, Zip. So viewers, should you consider a first generation Kia Picanto with your hard-earned budget up to £1,000? Well, I don't see why not. These cars can have problems with rust. You need to make sure the car's actually being maintained, and it'd be nice to see a cam belt on there. But the thing is, if you're spending up to £1,000 on a car that is ultra emission zone compliant, which I believe they are, that can take E10 fuel, is very economical, and generally they're quite hardy, then if the cam belt breaks and you have to scrap the car, well, you've not lost that much money, have you? That's just the way to look at it. But I'm the sort of person who likes to have a cam belt changed anyway, so you know, I'm possibly not the right person to advise you like that. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching No Budget Reviews. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and we shall see you again soon for more inexpensive motoring.